Okay, it's a comm check. Can you guys hear me? Is anybody on? I see Rob's on.
Don't answer.
Don't answer. Don't say that. That's pretty sensitive. That's a pretty sensitive mic in there.
I can hear you loud and clear, sir.
Okay, Rob.
This is a recording.
We're not home.
Looks like you guys got a big crowd there today.
Huge.
Yeah.
Biggest one I've seen here.
Did Clyde show up?
We don't have a single person from the airport here, sir. You can't even wonder about your friends.
Yeah, I know. It makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Shouldn't give them too hard of a time, I guess.
I know that Brian's not going to be there. And
No, he's not.
well, it's nice you can have some peace and quiet and nobody will come out and bother us.
That's right.
See, do I see Paul?
Paul just went out to the gate to make sure nobody else needed to.
Okay.
Yeah. He should be right back in here soon. Well, I don't know. It's Paul.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 9:00.
Yeah.
I told him he had 3 minutes.
Kelly, did you get all your Cora stuff straightened out?
I'm straightened out.
We're good.
Yeah.
Was Vernon gonna come out?
No. Do we need, no. Oh, on the IT stuff, no. It's in our hands now, I guess.
Glad you got in the door okay once figured the combo, huh?
Yeah, it's different than my keypad lock. If I hit the lock button right after I put the code in, it's gonna
Lock it.
keep it locked, so. Yeah.
Here comes Paul.
Kathy's on the gate. She says there's cookies on the desk.
Who's on the gate?
Kathy.
There's cookies on there.
Said there's cookies on the desk. Okay.
Hey, Paul,
Sir.
I found my badge. Thanks for making such a nice badge. And I'll wear it.
If he doesn't lose it again.
If I don't lose it.
If you had the prongs on it, you could just leave them off and just do it like they put on ribbons and everything, just poke it in your chest.
Yeah, that's right. And that's how when you make your qualifying parachute jump, they come up to you and pound your wings into your chest, which is not a fun thing. It's like you getting bit by a rattlesnake.
Yeah, they do the same with recruiting badges.
He said he had some.
You have a sticky?
It's like, is that Kathy? She got the word, huh?
Yeah.
I didn't bring my briefcase in, but I don't have any.
That's okay.
It's
I'll
in
find
my
you a
other,
stick. Maybe you'll find the cookies.
it's in my notebook. I didn't bring it today. I have stickies. The little walking gate's open. I mean,
Is
it's
it?
unlocked. There's no gate, there's no lock to it. You can actually park and walk in if they just go walk up to the gate.
Well, does that look like the crew's here now? Everybody coming? Anybody?
Yeah, I think everybody that's
Probably.
supposed to be here is kind of here.
We have
Okay.
anybody online?
Yeah, there's Rob Klein's online.
I have
All right, well, let's call this meeting to order.
Right?
This is Bill Kanda, Custer County Chairman of the Board of Commissioners. It's Thursday, May 8th, 2025, and the time is 9:03. Can you hear me okay, guys?
Yes.
Okay, so it's silence your phones if you haven't already.
Just do it.
And I think I better do mine too. Okay, let's stand for the pledge. If you want to lead it, Lucas, and I'll do the invocation.
All right.
Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
See.
Over to you, Paul.
Very good. You were gonna start, you want me to do it?
Yeah, you're the invocator.
Okay. Dear Heavenly Father, we gather here today to conduct the business of our wonderful Custer County. We ask you to watch over us and help us make the managerial decisions that are needed to mold this day and future weeks and months to come. We ask you for your guidance, and we do this in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. Roll call, please, Kelly.
Commissioner Kanda,
Here.
Commissioner Epp,
Present.
Commissioner Vogelsong,
Here.
BOCC admin Caitlin Womack. Here. And clerk to the board Kelly Camper present.
Okay, Paul, or did we decide if Dan's going to be here today? Is he?
I held him off. I didn't figure there was anything on there that we needed that he hadn't already looked at or had made comment in an email, so.
Yeah, good. And just from a quick question here, the budget review, is that in the right place, Lucas?
Those are minutes.
Yeah, that's minutes for the budget review that we did.
Oh, that's for minutes. Okay, yeah, it was.
Because that was a
cleaned up
meeting.
on the margin, yeah. Okay, you're right. Okay, amend the agenda. Anybody else? Any questions on it?
Are you gonna do the audience?
Oh, yeah, let's audience introduction, then let's see who's there. You got.
We'll start on the left.
I'm Dave Ravel, Custer County Backpack Project.
Matt Richter, back with Ranch. Steve Bacharich, CTSI.
And Kathy Griffin is here as well, but she's out kind of manning the gate.
She's at the gate guard.
See the gate guard. Okay, good. Hey, the owl's working fine. And you guys that just introduced yourselves, it swung right on to you, each one of you. So it's nice to know technology's working today. Okay, any amendments to the agenda?
None from me, sir.
No,
Well,
I'm good with it, fine.
okay, and with that, got a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve April 17, April 24, and the April 24, 2025 budget review meeting minutes.
Vogelsong will second that motion.
Yeah, they looked great, and we had, and I want to tell Kelly, Peggy stood in admirably, Kelly.
Great, thank you.
Okay, commissioner items, go ahead, Lucas.
I
You
don't
gotta
have,
vote, you gotta vote on that.
yeah, we got to vote on that.
Oh, I'm sorry, what am I saying? All right, all in favor of approving the minutes, say aye. Aye, Canada.
Aye.
Vogelsong, aye.
All approved. Thank you, Kelly. Okay, commissioner items now, Lucas.
Not a whole lot. Been talking to Benji with Redlands Consulting has been down. We're just going through the final list of things that we need to gather up and going through some liabilities and assets. So we're just gathering up some of the last of the information that we need for the audit to turn over to Sam DiNardo. We've already started sending him the majority of the stuff that he needs, but we're just going through the final list now to turn over and then get kind of close out last year. So still had a few final expenses and revenue to put for last year in the books. So that's all I got.
Okay, Paul.
Lucas and I both attended the fair meeting board meeting last night. Looks like we're pretty good on target for the date and everything to date, we've caught up quite a bit, and everything's looking pretty good for the fair. And other than that, that's not the only meeting we had because we had so much snow.
Yeah, I was leaving town and you couldn't see 3 car lengths in front of you on Monday or on Sunday evening. And then Monday was all day Monday. That was a bad deal. In any case, we got her done. What I've got is just a quick one. I was out there right before it started snowing with Clyde, who just came in, and looked at the concrete. They were getting ready to set the forms that day, and we had them expanded a little bit wider so it would make sure that the wheels of the jets that turned in there to fuel up didn't get off and into the mud. And he did that day, and it looked like a great form that he set. And I'm hoping that you guys, if you get a chance, maybe you've seen them already, get out there and look at that concrete pad. It made it even look better. Also had to modify the poles that were in front of the reels because they were in the way. How'd that turn out, Clyde?
Turned out very well. It looks good. Looks very professional, clean, neat.
I also walked that when I got here. I got here a little early just to make sure we didn't have any earlier arriving people and everything. And pad does look real good out there.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, he was the right choice. And I guess he's on the gates next and got a plan for that now, Clyde?
Yes, last time I talked to him, he said he was going to start next week.
And what he tell everybody what make it on the record what they're going to do with the gate.
Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to put concrete pavement 20 feet each side of each of the gates. Well, the 2 aluminum gates, not
For the approach.
not the big steel gate.
Yeah.
So 20-foot approaches to the gates and bring the level of the pavement up to within 6 inches of the bottom of the gate. That's in order to keep the antelope mostly, but the deer also can crawl into the gates now, the way they are. And it also will take care of that mud hole we have in front of the gate.
Yep.
Good.
Turning out great. Okay, the other item I had as I worked it on the way out, and I'll be finishing it up when we get back here in a day or two, is the sludge problem that we've had with the lagoons and the Round Mountain water systems. And what we did find out, and I'll let you guys know by when we saw you last, was that Round Mountain can issue a certificate for people to make sure they can deduct any donations on their taxes. So we are setting up two accounts. They are Round Mountain's going to set up an account in both banks, UBB and Kirkpatrick. And with instructions, the tellers will take the money, and they got to make sure that whoever donates any money gets them their address so that they can make sure they are accounted for and that they get the notification that they can deduct that. They can also make it anonymously if they don't want their name published as well. And Dave Snyder is setting that up. It's going to be a fund that can only be used by Round Mountain for repair of the system itself, not for other items of business at Round Mountain. So it's dedicated only to that cause so that we make sure that the septic processing out there is going to be successful. That's what's critical. Can't waste the money on that. Also, they will reimburse if the plan is to let the first $100,000 get back the margin that Round Mountain needed for their development of that new system. And they are willing to donate back to the county if we want to take it back, the $40,000 that we will deposit. So the first thing we'll do, Lucas, is as soon as the account, Peggy Quinn was going to work with Dave, who was out getting his daughter wedded last week. And he's back. I think he's coming back today, or he may be back by, I guess it was Wednesday, to go with Peggy and set those counts up. So we can get a check written to Round Mountain out of our account and let them deposit that in, split it between the two banks. So there's 10,000, what is it, 20,000 in each bank account for the Drown Mountain to draw on. That would be one way to do it. If we want to put it in when they need it, we can do it that way too. So Lucas, you take a look at how you want to handle that and we'll go.
We already approved the check going to Round Mountain,
Right.
in, 2 weeks ago in that last AP cycle. So that
Right.
check has already left the building.
Did it go to them already?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, that's good to know. Then we'll make sure when I get back there with Dave and I'll make sure that that's in the account for that cause, not sitting in their general fund.
Okay.
Bill, do we have a kickoff date for hauling due to the snow and everything? Did they alter that at all?
No, they're on schedule. From what I understand. We'll find out. But I'm sure they didn't haul the day everybody was sliding down the hard scrabble.
Right.
We'll see.
That's all I have.
Okay, and then I am on the calendar to go. Well, I talked to Reggie Foster, chairman of the school board, and we're gonna go give a presentation to them. She knows that we're looking for 10,000 from them. Also, we've got to get 10,000 yet, collect that check from town of Westcliff, and they did approve it in their meeting. I was there as I think Lucas, you were there too.
I wasn't at that one.
Oh, you missed that one.
I missed that one.
I guess Bob Cinderhoff and Dave were there both. I haven't scheduled a meeting yet with Buck, but he knows we're coming. So that's
So Tuesday night, I went to Silver Cliff's town hall meeting and kind of told them what we were doing.
good.
They didn't make a decision either way. I think Buck was gonna reach out to Dave to do a presentation if Dave wanted to ask for money, so.
Well, that's the plan, was to get Dave in front of them.
Okay, so
Also,
that's up to Dave now.
yeah, also, we are going to provide, I've got Joanne lined up to help write it, a PI, a public information, and a release in the both newspapers, and keep this in front of people that they're able to come and are more than welcome to come and donate money, and we got to keep it alive so that we can make sure it's in front of the public.
Okay,
Starts next week. Okay. And that's all I had for now.
all right.
So next up, let's get this. Anything from Caitlin?
I don't have anything new.
Thanks for setting things up. Everything's going fine right now. I'm impressed with the system now. Thank you. Any unfinished business? I don't think there is.
No, sir, nothing for me.
I don't have anything.
Okay, so let's hit the next item on the agenda, which would be the Custer County Backpack Project. Is that what we got up?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Lucas, run the crowd.
Come on up.
The floor is yours.
Well, I brought some visual aids.
Awesome.
So, I'm gonna ask you to just pass this around. And this is a mid-school backpack with everything that the school requires students show up with. And that's what they carry around all day. Just have a look in it. I'm Dave Ravel. I'm with the backpack program, and I gave you a brochure that explains anything you want to know. Started in 2016 under Valley Park Rec and Youth Center. And then we took it over 5 years ago. We use the community members and volunteers, but we oversee it through the Church of Christ. And we have a dedicated bank account for the backpack program. Last year, we did 162 backpacks. That's 54%. Did any of you want to do that? 54% of the school population. Each backpack averages $40. So the mid-school is over 100 that you're kind of passing around. You can tell it's full. We are solely supported by donations. So we get we kind of tap into any funds around the community, and a lot of people give individually. When parents pick up backpacks, they usually give us something. But we don't require anything because these families with, 5 or 6 kids, it gets a lot. You can see in the middle, there's some graphs from last year. We're up to 162 backpacks and about $5,000. So last year was a huge year for us, so we depleted our stock. So we're trying to replenish our budget up to $5,000. Any questions? I've been here before. You guys contributed 2 years ago.
You kind of come back every 2 years, is that kind of what your rotation is? Of the
Well,
BOCC, or-
I try to have a wide base, and that you can see on our donors that we get a lot of organizations contributing. This year, we've only had the High Mountain Hay Fever Children's Health Fund, and we had some left over last year, and we had a grant from the town of Westcliff. And so this year, we're just replenishing our budget, but we kind of try to rotate so that we're not hitting you up every year.
Well, I understand.
And we know it's not gonna be sustainable, and we're not ever gonna, not be asking for money, because parents with 3 kids, you're looking at $400 for what the school requires. I gave you a school supply list. I'd like you to just run your eyes down that thing, because we supply everything on there except electronics, calculators, and clothes.
Yeah.
And we try to get everything the school asks for.
No.
What's the
So-
average cost of that backpack with the
You
stuff
think?
in?
Oh, they average about $40, pre-K through 12. The most expensive are the mid-school, which I passed around, and it averages about $100 to get all of that. Because they ask for expo markers, those things are $3 a piece. They ask for highlighters, we provide headphones, we provide everything on the list. So it gets expensive. No questions?
No, I think it's a good thing, and I think we're seeing the needs are going up and up all
Oh,
the
yeah.
time, so.
Yeah, and we provide the backpacks, and they're quality backpacks. We provide, that's a pre-K, all the way up through, this is a high school, and then that's the mid-school, and it's the only one we can even fit all they ask for, so.
No,
It's a great program. We've got some community outreach money, but I don't know how much we've got left, Lucas.
got around $2,900 left. And most of the community outreach things that we normally do are out of that fund already. So, our big ones that, usually hit it early on have hit, and that's already been taken out of that total amount. And we've reduced our community outreach just to kind of, level out our, and balance our budget. We've taken about 2,000 a year over the last 2-3 years out of that total budgeted amount. So we had 10,000 last year, 8,000 this year, but there's 2,900 left. And I'll make a motion that we approve in the amount of $500 to the backpack, Custer County Backpack Project to help our students out. So
Thank you.
you're welcome. That's my
Appreciate that.
motion.
I'll second. Paul, you second it. Go ahead, Paul. I got a quick question. So there's no need for them yet. This is the end of the year, so that'll be banked and used to stock it for next year. Is that the plan?
Well, we start stocking in May. We pack the backpacks in July, and then they're distributed the first week of August.
Okay,
And that's gonna be around the corner before we know it.
Yeah.
yeah, it will be. Hard to believe. It ain't even stopped snowing yet.
Oh, No.
We're done, only on the mountain.
School's not quite done and we're thinking about next year's school season, right?
Yeah.
Crazy life.
Yep.
Okay, any other discussion? Anybody?
No hands? No?
Okay, then call for the vote. All in favor of the backpack project, $500. Say aye, Lucas.
Aye.
Vogelsong, aye?
Kanda, aye. Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Don't leave, that you'll be a third of the audience or the citizens that'll be left. Don't stick around. I don't know if Clyde's gonna cook a hamburger or not, but stick around.
No, Bill, I thought we decided last Thursday that this meeting was.
It wasn't worth it, huh? I know you did.
You said you're taking us all to Tony's Pizza or something.
So we're not prepared for burger cook, no.
Okay, I know. Well, that's a good thing. Nice day, though, I understand. All right, special permit for Friends of Beckwith. Who's presenting that?
That's me. Friends of Beckwith Ranch, are having an event June 7th and have applied for a special events permit to serve, beer. And Matt Richter, who's on the board, is here to tell you guys about what they're doing.
Okay,
June 7th, Ranch Roundup. It's an annual event. It's one of our biggest fundraisers. We served beer last year for the first time, and it was moderately successful. We didn't advertise it well. We are advertising it much better this year. We're hoping it'll help raise funds to support Beckwith's efforts to teach and show people the history of Colorado. We have 3 TIPS certified volunteers that'll be there that day, so we're well covered in that department. That's about it.
Yeah, and you guys usually have posse there for,
The posse's there for parking
yeah,
and help out on the road.
yeah.
And I don't know if you can see the chart, but nobody's allowed outside of the perimeter of the ranch, 3.5 acre property, in or out with any alcohol beverages at any time. Obviously, it's limited to people of age. We've never seen a problem. We've had multiple events there, not only our own, but others that run events at the Beckwith that serve beer. And it's always been very successful and very respectful, and people aren't there to, drink all day.
Yeah.
They're there to have a beer while they're having, lunch and listening to some music and enjoying the ranch activities. So that's it for that event. Hoping that you'll approve it.
Good weather.
I'll make a motion to approve the special events permit for Friends of Beckwith Ranch.
Vogelsong, I'll second that motion.
okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion, any other questions up front first? Good, Paul?
Yeah, there's no hands up.
Okay, how about any comments from public? Good.
No.
Okay, all in favor of approving the special permit for Beckwith, say aye. Paul?
Aye.
Lucas?
Aye.
Kanda, aye.
Now,
I'll get this mailed today, and then as soon as I get it, I'll let you know. And
In the meantime, the big giant sign will be hanging out outside.
yeah, actually, you can take it down now.
Oh, it's done?
Yeah,
Okay.
so you can pull
Thank you.
that down.
Thank you very
And,
much.
We welcome everybody to come out that day.
we'll be there.
It's June 7th for our annual roundup. If you've been there before, it changes a little bit every year. And on another private note, we have an estate sale that's taking place on Saturday. You may have seen that because every Facebook page in the 5 county area has been seeing that. We had a very generous donor, Friends of the Beckwith, that donated the majority of his tools, quite a few of his household items, kitchen items to the ranch as he moved into assisted living. So we're very grateful for that.
What day is that?
That is on Saturday, this Saturday the 10th. So it's
Oh,
2 days
coming
from
up.
now. That'll be from 10 to 4
At Beckwith?
at Beck. Yep.
Good to know. Thanks for the heads up.
Lots of really cool tools. This guy was into woodworking.
Mm.
I mean, fine
Cabinet
cabinetry.
maker type, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, next up is the change quarterly review meetings to workshops.
Yeah, so this is just about, we had these down as meetings, which requires, Kelly Camper to be there and record those meetings. We also realized that we want, all of our, well, as many of our elected officials and department heads that can possibly be at those budget review meetings. We will be changing the time on that, because those will probably be longer meetings, start more in the morning. July, but the July 23rd meeting, the October 22nd meeting, we may change those to the day after to make them an all-day or start in the morning, but we want to change them to an open workshop. Public's still allowed to come. No, not a closed workshop, it's open to the public, but it's not considered a meeting, so Kelly doesn't have to record that meeting. So I will make the motion to change basically be the second quarter and the third quarter budget review meetings to workshops. And then we will be working on date and time for those, because those are both scheduled for same day we have BOCC meetings.
Right. Good. Second.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to change those meetings that were discussed as proposed. Any other points? Any comments from the public?
One,
Kathy Griffin?
Can you just remind Kathy, yes, thank you, and it's Griffin.
Griffin.
Can you please remind me if public comments are allowed in workshops?
Generally not. It kind of be up to, I guess, the chair, or the commissioners if we're gonna allow any comments or questions.
Thank you.
doesn't have to.
Wouldn't have to be, no.
Doesn't have to be. Okay, good question. Anything else? Okay, all in favor of renaming the workshops as presented, say aye. Paul?
Aye.
Lucas?
Aye.
And aye. Okay, next up, this was really tricky. There's a trick question on this one. It's a request for proposal of contract information technology services. And what the heck is that? It's really the IT services. So go ahead, Lucas.
So we have, so when we pulled Vernon Roth into finance director, we started talking about what do we want to do with our IT services, and what does that look like? And we need to do, I feel like we need to do a request for proposal to see what contracted IT services looks like for us. We have some challenges. We all kind of know about Fremont County's cybersecurity attack that they had, which forced them into hiring a cybersecurity specialist. We don't have the funds to do that. And we, with the way costs are going with putting personnel in those spots to do that, is looking like it would be more than some of the estimates that we've already gotten for contract IT services. We're still talking about a part-time on-site help with some of our IT stuff, but this request for proposal would kind of manage the whole thing, the whole kit and caboodle. We'd have to put tickets in and do it that way, but they would handle this endpoint, they would handle our servers, they would handle our cybersecurity, which is probably our biggest threat and our weakest area. and would just provide more support. The sheriff's office has really expanded its level of electronic devices, and we spend a lot of time keeping them up to date. And as their technology increases, we need a company that can keep up with that. And this looks like the way to go, but we need some of those proposals to get some hard numbers as to what we're actually looking at. So that's kind of what this is to do, is to go out there and give us some numbers, some hard numbers to look at and make a decision on. So
we're pretty clear on the scope of work. Sounds like it's software fixes, tunneling in people, our personnel's computers when they have an issue, and fixing issues that way. The legwork would be still done by John Mapes, and hardware kind of repair. Was that the plan?
no, so hardware repair would still largely be done by this company. Some of the special projects of, we need to run a line here, or we need to get wireless from this location to this location, that's still kind of gonna be on John. Vernon's, since he's in the finance department and we're kind of trying to centralize some procurement, I think we're gonna leave the buying the products, whether it be a laptop, a monitor, or a phone, we will leave that in Vernon's hands or in the finance department's hands at this point in time. But they'll be, we talk about monitoring a lot. This company will be able to monitor this on a continuous basis, where right now, somebody can't monitor if they're going out and they're fixing a device. The monitoring kind of drops off, so this will help with that. But yeah, it kind of looks at our whole IT department and manages that, all the software, the hardware, we buy it, they put it online, get it up and going. And then keeping us, especially from a cybersecurity standpoint, keeping us where we need to go so that we're not at risk.
Okay. So the day-to-day, if there's a problem with somebody, he can't log in, he screwed up his password, who does that?
It'll be a combination of putting an IT ticket in or John helping out.
And the other thing to add to that is there's more eyes on the whole umbrella of IT. And so it'll help when we do have any kind of problems, because with just everybody that we have on staff, this puts it in their arena with a lot of more experts to look at it and get back with a quick fix, if you want to call it that, along with cybersecurity. And it just makes more sense to be able to keep cybersecurity up and running. And right now, we're pretty weak in that area.
Sounds pretty good.
This doesn't just put it all on them. It's a co-managed thing between the county and whatever contractor we would accept if we choose to go down that road, or if we want to put a bunch of people in seats and then try to stay up on the technology. That's the other thing. This technology continues to change so fast. It would be hard to keep one person on top of all of it, along with still doing all the maintenance, all the technical services. It'll probably have some of its own challenges doing this, but if we all line up with computer programs, we all have to take a pecking order. With this, we can all put a ticket in at the same time and all get support at the same time. So
not just one person.
It's not gonna be without, each way's got pros and cons, so.
Sounds good. How you gonna ask for the proposal? Or are we gonna have the contractor propose a program to us? Or are we gonna spec out exactly what we expect them to do?
We've kind of spec'd it off based upon what we've seen is out there. Both Vernon wrote up this RFP, and then we kind of ran it through, we ran it through the legal department, through Dan Slater. But we took a lot of the proposals that we got from some companies just in their services and go, what services do we need? What services do we want to just cover our kind of our basics needs here? And then we'll see what they come back with as well. But you know, the sky's the limit. But you know, I'm hoping we see something back for around the 150,000 a year mark, which is probably what it would cost us for a full-time, you know, 2 full-time people, so.
Right.
And a partial part-time, and that's no guarantee, you know, that's low paid IT people, so. Very
And
low paid
how
IT.
we advertise it, just they got.
So we'll go out to those companies that we know of, we'll put it on our website and in the newspaper, just like we do any other notice for RFP.
Let them know we're seeking.
Okay. All right, let's hear a motion.
You wanna do it?
Go ahead.
I'll make the motion that we go ahead and proceed with the request for a proposal on RFP from IT to search out a outside sourcing.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to move forward with the proposal for contract and IT services. Any other discussion and questions from you guys or the public?
Kathy does.
Kathy Griffin. So 2 questions. Commissioner Epp, when you mentioned that multiple people will put in a ticket at one time and everyone will be addressed at the same time, that implies that this contract company is not going to be on site.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And so then the second question is, it sounds like John Mapes would be like a part-time IT tech
Correct.
type person?
Correct.
Okay, so we're not losing any staff. John
Correct.
will still be there and his role will be changed however you deem
Correct.
appropriate.
Correct.
And then we'll just be adding on like another staff, which
Correct.
will be the whole company.
Correct.
Okay, and so then John, like even like the Xerox, you know, when he updates that so that we can do scans or something,
Correct.
he'll still be able to handle that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Between them and him, we'll be able to handle that as well, so.
okay.
Yeah.
And just out of curiosity, when you mentioned that the sheriff needs a lot of IT support, to summarize it like that, are budgets allocated based on the need per department?
Right,
Like does the sheriff department have to pay more for IT support than?
no, so far we have everything budgeted for IT is within IT, other than buying a phone or a laptop. Sometimes we take that out of the individual fund accounts, so whether it be the sheriff or the clerk or the commissioners, comes out of our operating budgets.
And that's how it is pretty much for all kind of maintenance.
Yeah, we've
the
talked
county.
about splitting that out so that we kind of knew true cost of each department, what that
Right.
cost is to run that department, but we haven't gotten there yet. I think I'd like to do that, still look at what have we spent on IT period, but what does it cost, true cost of each department with all the technology stuff too, so. And this might go into an IT contract where they can split it out amongst, here's your tickets. That would help that a little bit too. John kind of tried, and Vernon have kind of tried to do that in the past, but you get bogged down with spending a lot of time with your tickets then and not actually doing the service, so.
Right.
Yeah, but good questions.
I can add to that, last Monday, we had a complete shutdown of our IT. It was about 2.5 hours before we realized that it was not our problem. That it was actually a fiber optic cable that got cut down by Cripple Creek. That was our feed. Just for instance, what I see with this is that they would have other people online saying, oh yeah, we have a cable cut. It wouldn't be that 2.5 hours trying to figure out why we were down. And we could probably get it ordered up, we had a portable unit come up and everything, but it took us all day to get that done. So it'd be nice to have a phone call saying, hey, we got to cut cable and you're gonna be down until you get a portable unit up there, order one now.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll just add on too, just one comment is, we have been budgeting IT based on each department's requirements. So how many people they got, how many computers they need, what kind of technology they need. So, and that's the correct way to do that. But then to service that is, I think this is a great idea because then each department can be handled by more than one guy. They got a company of other technicians that are supporting that requirement. So
Correct.
be interesting to see how much it's gonna cost. So let's see what it'll go. So I agree, we ought to send the proposal forward. So unless there are no other comments, I'll call for the
One
vote.
more.
One more
Go
comment.
ahead.
Yep, Matt Richter, Beckwith Ranch, has nothing to do with Beckwith Ranch, but and I don't know if it's appropriate for this either, but I'm a retired network engineer. I work for a very large hospital group in Florida, and cybersecurity, things like that were obviously, high on our list. I don't know if it would be helpful to have another set of eyes from the community look at this, with your guys looking at this before you make a decision to hire, because I've been through all of it.
Okay. Well, no,
Appreciate that.
I worked for AT&T for 3 years as a network engineer for AT&T, so I've been with the Lex, I've been with, private industry, so maybe another set of eyes looking at this might be helpful. It's totally up to you.
Appreciate that.
no, and I think once we get those proposals in, I'll get your name and number
You're
and,
more than welcome to reach out. I got a lot on my plate, but I'll be glad to
yeah, we could at least send it to you and say,
help
what do
your
you
guys
think?
guide you to the right, help, maybe in the right direction.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Appreciate that.
Careful what you ask for, you may get it.
Well, that's what happens when I moved to the valley. I volunteered and.
Now you're busier than you've ever been.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That volunteer stuff.
Okay, any other comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor of request or get proposal out for contract IT technology services, say aye. Lucas,
Aye.
Bogus on aye.
Kanda, aye. Okay, now what we've all been waiting for. Coup de grace, CTSI loss analysis report. You're up. See if you can beat the last act.
All right, on time or otherwise?
Who knows what he's talking about?
So I know I sent out some materials ahead of time. I'm just going to pass these out again. There may be a couple of charts that were not in the materials that I had originally sent. So I know I met with you last year. I'm Steve Kucharich with CTSI Loss Control.
I think you were down in Wetmore, weren't we?
Yeah, I was in Wetmore. I went right by there today. So, so like we do every year, I'm just here today to go over your 5-year loss analysis, and kind of the point of that is just trying to identify where claims are happening and opportunities for, possibly reducing those going forward. So thanks for being member owners with us at CTSI. We'll go through the cap and the work comp pool today, so I'll just get right into it here. So the first page that I know you all have is basically just showing your losses over the last 5 years in the cap pool. So property, auto, liability, all represented here. And I'm sure you remember when we're kind of calculating what your contribution is for the next year, we look at the oldest 3 years on this graph. So 2020 through 22, relatively lower loss years. So that kind of translates into, we take what your base contribution is, and then based on those oldest 3 years, we'll adjust it down. And then after that, one of the unique things being a pool member, as you know, is there's typically an interest and an equity distribution back to the counties. That's kind of based on what your loss history is. So the way that worked out this year was your base contribution, after we applied that loss factor, brought it down from about 292,000 to 234. Then you also receive about 6,600 back in interest distribution. Any questions on that? So now, this is where I'm not sure if everybody has all of the graphs. My apologies, Commissioner Kanda, if you don't have these.
I've got them. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hold on just a second then. On your graph, it looks really scary because it goes streaking straight up, but at 200%, whatever percent. That doesn't mean anything really. What it really matters is what's the total loss. And if it was $10 and we just went up to 20, that's different than it is 100 million. So I'm sure that's really what you're looking at is the actual dollars that were paid. So how many,
Yeah, exactly.
how many dollars did you pay out on us?
Yes, exactly. So on that first page again, the percentages on there, that would be the percent of your contribution amount that was, basically paid back in claims. So, I mean, it's a little different every year, obviously, but that's.
So did we look reckless to you, or are we okay? That is really the.
Oh,
No, we do look reckless. I will just say that.
That's right. That's what I'm looking for.
When the graph goes straight up and we're,
Yeah.
we are not managing our risk like we should be.
yeah, and
Yeah.
we'll get into the specifics of that here
Okay.
too. Yeah. So this is where I'm not sure if you all have the next page of graphs, some vertical bar graphs that just look at frequency and severity of claims by department. So frequency, you can see 15 claims from law enforcement, 9 from road and bridge. And this is over the last 5 years, by the way. This is 5 years worth of data here. And then just underneath that, in terms of severity measured in dollars spent, you can see law enforcement, 881,000, and then down to admin, it's about 400,000. Then after that, I mean, everything else, road and bridge, public safety, it's just kind of a drop in the bucket after that. And those larger amounts in law enforcement and admin are from a very small number of claims that you'll kind of see represented on the next page here. So the next page, we're just looking at frequency and severity again, but instead of by department, it's by what was the type of incident that occurred. So on the top there, I mean, yeah, you had a lot of vehicle claims. Those are the first two categories, 6 claims in one, 5 in the other. But then on the bottom there, the severity, where the dollars were actually spent, you can see arrest related, almost 800,000, and then employment, conditions of employment was over 300,000. So again, you had a lot, frequency wise, much like every other county, you had a lot of things going on with vehicles and driving, but in terms of the severity, it was just that very small number of claims, arrest related and employment related. And you can kind of see the specifics of those on the next page that will list those out. I won't go through this in any great detail. You can look at this kind of on your own, but you can see, in the law enforcement category there, I mean, the one claim arrest related was the lion's share of everything in the cap pool for you guys. Any questions on that?
No, it is, the numbers speak to what they speak to, so.
Sure. Yeah. So then we can just look at that vertical bar graph, and this one is just looking at the entire cap pool, so all of our member counties, just to kind of give you an idea of, we've seen where things happen in Custer County, but what about the rest of the pools? So again, the frequency on top there, the first 3 are all vehicle related. I mean, that's far and away our most common type of claim. And then in the severity down there, you know, the first bar on there is fatality, and that's things that probably you've seen on the news from other counties where it's typically law enforcement related, either in the jail or arrest related, which, you know, you've also experienced some of those claims, just not in that fatality category. So think like use of force, withholding services in the jail, due process, those kinds of things would be, or jail related potentially. After that, on severity for the whole cap pool, hail and wind, so building, vehicle damage, arrest related there, where, you know, you showed up in that one. Then we're back to vehicle related and inmate related, so things in the jail again can be, those can be significant. So the page with, you know, many lines, 50 lines or so, going through different categories. Again, this is the entire cap pool over the last 5 years, and you can just kind of see as a whole where are things happening, where is the risk in county government in terms of cap claims. And one thing probably worth pointing out there is, you know, if you kind of just glance down what those things are under that far left accident category, you'll see, I don't know, I'm probably seeing about 10 different vehicle categories. So if you put those all together, they're gonna be a pretty high percentage of everything that goes on. Any questions on cap?
No.
Okay. So now I have that line graph, same thing we looked at on the first page, but this one is for the work comp pool, CWCP. So again, 3 oldest years is what we look at when we're determining a loss factor. I'll kind of explain how that worked out for you guys this year. Again, your member owners, so typically there's some distribution back to you of equity from that pool. And a couple of things that are different, being that your pool, you know, part of the pool is $0 deductible on your claims, and then probably the bigger one is there's not an experience modification rating, EMOD, like in private insurance. So basically what that means is when you have 2023, which was 204% on your graph there, when that rolls on next year, it's not going to boost your loss factor. So in the pools, recognizing everyone's county government, we know if that spikes, that's going to be a big impact to your budget. So the way that what we call a loss factor is what is in place of like the EMOD and private insurance, but ours only goes up to somewhere around 1.1, whereas in private insurance it's usually can go up to 2 or 2.5. So kind of what that looks like is your base exposure for this year, based on payroll and job classifications, started at 123,000. Your loss factor based on those 3 good years there was 0.92. So multiply that 123,000 by 0.92, brought you down to 113,000, and then we had a pretty good year in terms of equity distribution. So you actually received 44,000 back in equity, knocking your net down to 68,710 for this year. So comp, we cover obviously your employees, also statutory volunteers, appointed board members also in here. So then on the next page, frequency and severity by department again, you can see law enforcement kind of way above the next closest department, which is road and bridge in terms of frequency of things happening. And then in terms of severity, kind of the same thing again, law enforcement is way up there. So of that 422,000 spent there, I kind of went and looked at what were those things, and it was training, which it happens frequently in law enforcement with use of force training, so not a big surprise. Training, vehicle crash, moving office equipment or furniture, I think was one of them, and then there was also the one with the posse and the person being thrown off the horse also is in there. So then the next page here,
Before you go on there, just a quick one, what kind of things do you see in administration that causes that? When you add it up, there's a lot of money there.
administration, typically anything that's related to any of your buildings is going to roll up there. I think we'll get to that in just a second. I think we'll see exactly what that was in just a second here.
Okay.
If not, we'll come back to it. So the next page, frequency and severity by the type of injury. Slip, trip, and fall. 12 of those incidents reported, and I kind of broke that down. Half of those were from law enforcement. Not surprising. Again, slips, trips, and falls it's usually number one in every county. And then looking down at severity or the dollars spent, again, I went through all of these categories: slip, trip, and fall, body mechanics, training, vehicles, all of those. It was really law enforcement, again, sheriff's department was really where those dollars were spent in all of those categories. And you can kind of see that on the breakdown on the next page where it kind of lists out by each department, and it'll total it up for each department at the bottom there. Admin, $4,000, law enforcement, $400,000, road and bridge, $5,000. So again, it's really the law enforcement there, and it's not honestly that surprising, but I will say it's usually a lot. Law enforcement, road and bridge tend to a lot of times run a lot closer, and I'd say that, well, as the first line graph chart looked at, just the total amount of claims and severity, it was rather high the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So then the last chart page here is that horizontal bar chart. Again, this one is for the pool as a whole, so looking at all of our member counties. Just like Custer County, slip, trip, and fall is number one in frequency. Inmate related, a lot of things in the jails. Body mechanics, which is just kind of, you're doing your day-to-day work and you throw your back out doing something relatively normal. There's kind of those types of things in that category. And then on severity down at the bottom there, slip, trip, and fall, body mechanics are number 1 and 2, and I think that was pretty much where you landed in Custer County as well, kind of followed right along with that. And then that very last page, again, this is just looking at the pool as a whole, looking at, where the dollars are spent, and again, it's slips, trips, and falls, and body mechanics are 1 and 2 on there, so kind of follows right along with what your experience has been. So in terms of trying to think about how do we manage that risk, I mean, it's kind of hard, right, when you have, it's one big claim, so it's hard to say it's a trend. But with anything in law enforcement, I think a lot of it's training and policy and that kind of thing, which is not the most exciting thing in the world, but I think at the end of the day, that's where you can move the needle, maybe.
So when I look at this, if I was a client and a contractor brought me this and said, I'll build your skyrise apartment complex, and this is our data for the last 5 years, they wouldn't even get a seat at the table to bid. Mm-hmm. That's where the construction industry has gone. Mm-hmm. Government, because we're government, we go, that's just part of the cost of doing business. That cost gets passed on to the citizens, and the citizens are telling me, Lucas, keep us within budget. And I'm looking at this and I'm going, this needle's doing this, and there's no end in sight, and I'm going, we've got to turn this around. We've got to have those policies. We've got to have, you know, MSHA went a long time ago to you, if you're driving on their sites, you're backing in. So that when you're pulling out, and I know the sheriff's office has had a lot of back into vehicles, and they have some of the newest vehicles in the county, they've got backup cameras. What is going on? Because regardless, you know, that we factor differently than what personal insurance does, our rates have been climbing up at the same amount. And my guess is that other counties are having the same problems. They're not managing their risks. And tell me if I'm wrong, I'm kind of assuming that by looking at the last page, but I think probably every county that's with CTSI is in the same boat. We're not managing our risk like we should be. And I think we had the same conversation a year ago, and I think it needs to be a renewed focus on the commissioners to go, first of all, I don't want any of our employees to get hurt, because if my employee gets hurt, they can't serve our community like they need to. Then it causes problems for them and their families, and that's not good either. So I need maybe some of CTSI's help to go, hey, let's look at Custer County, and this is your highest risk, so this is where you need to focus first, and you need to focus here second, and these are the things you can do to help. This is the training you need, or these are some of the programs you can put in place to maybe help these trends go the other way, so we can start going down instead of up.
Let me tag on to that real quick, because those are great points he brought up. Other counties have had problems. Have any of them been successful fixing them? Is there something we can implement that they did? Is this data skewed by a lot of, you know, are the ones that are being successful overridden by some of the others that are really, really out of whack? So who can we talk to get a lessons learned?
Sure. I mean, I know that your sheriff has reached out to me a couple of times, you know, asking about this type of information, so I'm not sure if there's some opportunities through professional networks and law enforcement possibly. But just, I mean, I'm just looking back at again with, you know, in the CAP claims, it was one excessive force claim that was almost all the dollars for law enforcement, and then one employment action claim that was almost all the dollars. Besides that, and then workers' comp, I mean, the slips, trips, and falls, and I mean, a lot of it's coming from law enforcement too, where it's, you know, sometimes I have some real specific actionable advice to give you, but just with the nature of the claims and I mean, there's not really a lot to say. There's a trend with a lot of it.
Being an operational safety person in the oil field, the slip, trip, and falls, this is all of it. It's on duty, off duty, with medical, is that in there?
No, this would only be on duty.
Only
so
on duty.
In the scope of employment.
Okay. So I see it as a lack of training in some areas, because if we're on duty and it's icy outside or just not paying attention, that's a lot of money for just trip, slip, and falls. And that would be a big flag if you're out there, because, you know, it's so much, well, it's dangerous. You slip and trip and there's high speeding cars coming by you. You know, luckily we haven't had any deaths out there with law enforcement, but road and bridge, 4 years on road and bridge, by the way. Our flaggers are out there and everything, and I'd like to see, does this break down into more than just road and bridge and sheriff? It breaks down into on duty, on patrol, on duty at the building, Are they walking back and forth to the courtroom? You know, where were the incidences at? And if we're letting our guard down because we're walking to the courthouse and we slip on ice, we're still on duty, but it's not out in the middle of the road being dodging 60-mile-an-hour cars.
Right.
I think that's something we should be managing and monitoring internally, just like the oil field does, the construction industry does, private companies do, because their threshold for their insurance rates going up, their premiums going up is at a higher ratio than what ours is. But we, you know, we talked about it, because I remember this meeting in May of last year in Wetmore, or April, whenever it was. And honestly, we have not discussed it since then. So it's not something that we monitor, and manage like we should. And it's not to come down hard on any employee, including us as elected officials, but it's how do we make sure that our employees can go home the same way they came to work? Whether they're a deputy, a detention person, a landfill operator, we want them going home in the same way. With 10 fingers, 10 toes, so to speak. So.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. You're right, Lucas. And maybe, I know Road and Bridge does it, but there's always a safety briefing supposedly. Yeah. And we talk about things that are going on, weather and all that, but there's not a look at it from a county employee walking in the door from the parking lot point of view. And maybe there's some things we could do better by putting signs up and talking more. Who knows? We could discuss that in other meetings, but maybe that's a spot there. You had a good point, Paul. Where are the slips, trips, and falls really happening? And that would help us get in the middle of some of this, maybe.
Yeah, I can provide, I don't have it with me, but I can provide a little bit more detail on that too.
Okay.
But really with the slips, trips, and falls, when you're doing your incident investigation, whoever's doing that, usually the employee and the supervisor together, that's a good time to kind of identify if there's some actionable thing that you can do for whatever the situation was. And it's usually boring. I mean, it's pretty boring things like curled up mats or ice, it's just stuff that we are around all the time.
When you go on an oil field site, if it's icy, if you don't have cleats to put on your boots, you don't go on.
Yeah,
Period.
ice cleats are great. I mean, a lot of our counties have started using them, at least for like road and bridge staff or some law enforcement, I think. So, yeah, I mean, those are all options too.
And I know Matt Carver's done a lot better job around the building to try to get the ice and the snow away from the
Well, the
building.
water
where
move before it
people-
freezes and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We just need more focus.
Yeah.
That's
And
good
that's largely
discussion.
our job.
Need to do more.
Yeah, and I guess just to kind of close things out, unless you had other questions.
Not at this time, I think moving forward, we probably need to have a workshop
Tighten our belt.
to look at, after we get the information from you, and go, where are incidences happening? Are they happening close to home, not close to office, so to speak, or are they happening out? So where are they happening? Where do we need to put some more
That's what we
focus on?
need. We need to know where.
So, and I think, between Paul and I, Paul working the oil field and me working the construction field, we've already got that experience of how do you manage at an incident rate, not a recordable rate, which these I kind of all consider recordables because they hit paperwork that affected premiums and payouts. So how do we manage at and loop in our HR manager too with it, and because who is going to do these investigations to report back what the findings are. So.
Right.
It's not just a slip, it's where, when, and how.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Thank you, then.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, I always like to leave with, we do have some training opportunities always. Defensive driving, we can do a slip, trip, and fall training. I'm just gonna stop and meet with Sherry in your Road and Bridge.
Okay.
I've been talking to them about MSHA training.
Is there a list of short videos? I know used to have blood on asphalt and all that kind of groom
Yes.
stuff. But if there were a list of training for wintertime slip and falls or just, equipment, climbing ladders or whatever, I haven't even looked yet in that arena, but if you know of any, just email to us what the titles are and what they are, and we can zoom in on it or whatever during a safety meeting.
Yes, yep, I know, when I sent out the yearly loss report, I know I included one of those with my email to Bob, but I can certainly make sure that you all have that as well, yes.
Well, that's a good point. What are you doing for CTSI's summertime conference? Are the cars guys getting the briefings like this? Sheriff ought to attend to. Maybe there's some things we can get and learn. Next, what is it, the first week in June?
Yep, June 3rd, I believe.
And just for the public's knowledge, we are not, county governments or any governments entities are not mandated by OSHA. So OSHA does not regulate our industry, period.
So
So,
only the pit, that would be MSHA.
yeah,
Right.
correct.
Yeah.
So we got some challenges to work with and work through.
Yeah, thank you. We're always, you know where to find us.
Okay.
We're always happy to come out and do training for you, so
All right,
just let us know.
thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you.
Well, you know where we are and you know where you can fly into now.
That's right, I just need a plane.
All
Thanks.
right. Anything else on that? Okay, we're at the end of the agenda. Additional items of business. Anything, Lucas? Paul
Not that I have.
mentioned. Next week, we have a meeting. What day is it? Thursday or is it a Wednesday meeting?
Thursday for the rest of this month, and then going into June, we'll be going back to Wednesdays.
28th is the first one.
28th is the first one. Oh, okay. 28th of May is the first one on a Wednesday.
Okay, and so we're set for next week. Any other thing, public comment? We're at that point.
I have one.
Go ahead, Rob.
Yep, Rob Klein. Two things. On the planning commissioners, when they have those meetings and stuff, I never see an agenda posted on the website is the one thing. And then the second thing is I don't see any Zoom available for that. So that's the only two comments I have. Other than that, you guys are doing a great job.
Thank you. I'll look into where their agendas are at, sir.
They did not have a May meeting.
What?
They did not have a May.
Oh, they
meeting.
did not have a May meeting, sir. That might be why.
Regardless when they have it, it's just the idea. I don't never see it posted on the
Okay.
website, nor you're not allowed to. They don't have Zoom or whatever, so that's a problem for me.
Okay, all right.
Thank you very much, guys.
I'll look into it also.
That's a good point. And I don't know, have they been Zooming those meetings, Caitlin?
They had Zoom the last two meetings that they had. So
They don't normally.
Well, once we get started, we can't really go back from what Dan Slater had told us a couple months ago when we talked about Zoom in certain meetings. So if they've started it, they're gonna have to keep doing it.
Won't be able to
Yeah,
get that
hard.
answer probably till
We'll
Monday.
look into it.
Here we got.
But no, good points, Rob.
Yeah, thank you, Rob. And
Appreciate it.
I think that's probably all we got. Time is now 10:17 and I'll adjourn this meeting now. Thanks,
All right.
everybody.
All right.
Good job, Caitlin. Thanks for setting things up, everybody.